As always, reviews and comments are welcome on the show. Look for us on our social media handles, Joy News on TV, on Facebook and on Twitter. You can send us a tweet with the hashtag The Pulse. We'll be glad to share your thoughts with the rest of the world. Once again, you're welcome. Now, parliamentary candidates for the governing NDC will be third on the ballot paper, while those of the opposition MPP will be fifth in this year's election. This was the result of the balloting for the parliamentary slots for the parties. The GCPP is first, PPP second, UPP fourth, and the NDP sixth. The rest are IPP, UFP, IPD, UDSP, GFP, CPP, PNC, and DPP in that order. Quite a mouthful. Had to go through that very carefully. Well, Deputy Communication Officer at the EC, Yusuf Ayuba, addressed the press after the nomination was done.
If you look at all the constituencies, we have different candidates who have filed to contest in their elections. So it's a bit difficult and cumbersome, printing the ballots for the parliamentary elections. And you all know that we have a case on the presidential elections nominations in court, and we do not know exactly when we would finish with that case. So there was the need for us to go ahead and do the balloting for the parliamentary candidates so that we can go ahead and print the ballot papers and the notice of poll. When it also comes with printing of the statement of poll and declaration of results, it is based on the number of candidates who file and the way they appear on the ballot. So it's very critical for us to go ahead and do the printing for the parliamentary. Whilst we wait, to finish the case in court, then we can determine when we will do the balloting for the presidential elections or the candidates. We invited all the political parties who filed their nominations. We told them that we would start the balloting at exactly 8 a.m. this morning. As at the time we were ready for the balloting, we had 7 political parties present. So we started with the 7 political parties. So after that, we used the filing positions as their presidential candidates filed during the filing of nominations to continue on the ballot paper. We have 14, parliamentary or political parties, contesting for the parliamentary. But the dynamics would be a little bit different. In certain constituencies, it's possible we would have only 2 political parties, contesting. But because we want to be very sure that we don't want to be found wanting, because we need to do the balloting for all, so that in constituencies where we may have more than the 7, we have exactly the number of parties contesting in the parliamentary elections. It wouldn't be, then it means that the political parties must go to the people and educate them, tell them the positions they are on the ballot when it comes to presidential, and also tell them the positions they are on the ballot when it comes to parliamentary. So they have to do that, and that is why the commission would come up with the notice of poll, which is just a representation of the way they will appear on the ballot, so that the general public would know exactly where the parliamentary candidates will be, the position the parliamentary candidates will be on the ballot, and also the position the presidential candidates would also be on the ballot. By close of day, a directive will go to the regions, to the districts, for them to do the balloting for independent parliamentary candidates, so that we'll know exactly where they also, fall on the ballot paper. Then we'll go ahead, to print the notice of poll, then the ballot paper, and also the statement of poll and declaration of result sheets. We have the GCPP number 1 on the ballot. We have the PPP number 2 on the ballot. We have the NDC number 3 on the ballot. We have the UPP would be number 4 on the ballot, the NPP number 5 on the ballot, the NDP number 6 on the ballot, IPP number 7 on the ballot, UFP number 8 on the ballot, number 9 would be APC, number 10 would be RPD, number 11 would be UDSP, number 12 would be JFP, number 13 would be CPP, and number 14 would be PNC. So as and when we do the balloting for the independent parliamentary candidates, they will follow in that order. It's possible in a constituency we may have only 2, political parties contesting, so we would collapse all this into just 1 and 2, or maybe 1, 2, 3. If there are 3, if there are 4, we'll have 1, 2, 3.
So that's the EC explaining the process for the balloting. So as you will imagine, the political parties in the constituencies, based on where they are placed, will have to begin the marketing to jostle their way to win votes come December 7. Let's speak to some of them. Theophilus Tete is an independent candidate contesting for the Ablekuma West seat here in the Greater Accra region. Thank you for joining us, Mr. Tete. First of all, this means that you will be the last person on the ballot box. How does that work for you with your campaigning?
Please come again.
I'm asking, do you know where you will be on the ballot box come December ballot paper come December 7?
Yeah, from the arrangements made by the Electoral Commissioner, it means that I will be on the last. I'll be on the bottom of the ballot paper.
Bottom of how many candidates for your constituency?
Pardon me?
I'm asking, when you say bottom, it means bottom for how many candidates on that day?
We have 5 people on the ballot paper at the moment. We have 1 from the NDC, 1 from the NPP, 1 from the PAC, and then 1 from the PPP. And I'm the independent candidate. So the parties have.
Okay. Now, what does this do for you in terms of couching your messages to help voters know where to place their thumbs on election day? Okay, it seems we've lost Mr. Tete on the line. We'll try and raise him back on the line. But as you can imagine, as I was mentioning earlier, already the parties are beginning to coin for themselves how to market the number 3 for the NDC and 5 for the MPP. Already some biblical quotations are being made. John 3:16 for the NDC, 5 stones for the MPP. We'll get to that in just a moment. And as you can imagine, these things are often found on social media. We'll get to that in just a moment. But like you also may be aware, in politics today, the Progressive People's Party has not been looking at the balloting. They have been looking at something totally different. The legal battles that they are in with the Electoral Commission. One of the battles came up today at the High Court. And I'm talking about the PPP's Dr. Papakwesi Indom, who is there to challenge his disqualification. The High Court today granted a request by the Electoral Commission to have the matter heard at an earlier date. Lawyer for the EC, Thaddeus Sorry, made the request for an earlier hearing, saying a delay will affect the Commission's calendar as well as activities such as printing of ballot papers. Justice Chebafo ruled that the matter be heard next week, Tuesday, the 25th of October, ordering parties to present written arguments by Monday. PPP Policy Advisor Kofi Asamoah Siao spoke to Joy News. We'll get you that interview in just a moment. But Theophilus Tete, he is the independent candidate for the Ablekuma West constituency, has joined us now on the line. We lost him there momentarily. So, Mr. Tete, I was asking about how you're using your position to woo your voters for December 7 to vote for you. How is this changing your strategy?
No, I have campaigned enough, and I believe that the voters can identify me at any position that I am placed on the ballot paper. Me being on the bottom of the paper, that's the ballot paper, rather make it more easier for me. Number 1, number 2, number 3, fine. But when you are last, we can campaign with the slogan as here. When you vote for you, when you want to vote for parliamentarian, if you go there, go and vote for the one at the last bottom. That would be very easy for me than being in the middle or maybe at the top part of the paper.
Was that your wish? Was that your wish before the balloting was done today?
Pardon me?
Was that your wish that you will get either the very top or the bottom on the ballot paper today?
Those positions can easily be identified. So it has been my wish that I will either be the first or the last. Luckily enough, me being an independent candidate, and the parties has balloted and taken position, I have no option than to be the last person. If we were to have 2 independent or 3 independent candidates in the same constituency, then what it means is that we will go and ballot and look for the position that we can continue from where the parties ended. However, I'm the only independent candidate at Ablekuma West constituency. For that matter, I'm going to be placed at the last bottom, the 5th position. And I believe it comes also with an advantage. However, if I would have been placed anywhere, I would have campaigned more to educate the voters on where I've been placed. But being at the bottom makes it more easier. So I thank God it's good for me, and I'm going all out.
Okay. Now, Mr. Tete, apart from the issue of where you're placed on the ballot paper, in that constituency, Ablekuma West, we know that it's a seat being held by the MPP. The NDC is also seeking to grab it, and the 2 other political parties. What makes you think your chances are bright in winning this seat?
Thank you. If you look at all the aspirants that has been, or the candidates that has been paraded by the political parties, when you put me before them, you will realize that I stand in a more decorous position to serve the constituency better than any of them. I have a track record of communal developmental projects that I have embarked on as an individual. I have never been an assembly person before. I've never been an MP before. But my track record so far as developmental projects in the constituency is impeccable. Not even the sitting MP can compare the work he has done to what I have done for the constituency. Secondly, I have been in the constituency for the past 20 years. The longevity of experience so far as grassroots work is concerned, none of them can match my capability. Aside of that, I have been a youth, and I've been with the people, and the people knows me very well, and the people sees that I can identify their difficulties, and I'm the one who can draw government attention to the challenges facing them. For that matter, government can come in to help develop certain problems in the constituency that they have spoken and talk about all this while. That hasn't attracted government attention. That is why I believe that the people are resolved in making me the MP to come and work for them, and I'm ready to work for them.
Will this not be you winning or splitting the votes with SLOs, especially for those who ordinarily vote for the MPP in that constituency?
Not at all, not at all, not at all. Even let us assume, without admitting, that me coming from the new Patriotic Party, we are splitting our votes. Myself and Esla, we are splitting our votes with the sitting MP. The question is that between me and the sitting MP, who has been able to attract non-MPP voters who are coming to vote massively, right? 4, myself and her. Go to Tungala, go to Nazarawa, go to Mpuase, go to Petekwe, go to all the areas that happens to be the NDC strong areas. They are all saying that they want a candidate, a compromised candidate, who is coming to serve their interests, who is coming to work for them, and they've all settled on you. That is why I'm bringing on board something that goes beyond the political lines. And I believe that the MP himself appreciates what I'm telling you. And everybody who is an MPP voter knows that Tio is coming in and he has attracted many people, and that if they really want to retain the seat, the person who they should all support is Tio. The sitting MP's popularity has went down to a level that nobody can measure. For that matter, we need somebody who can come in to salvage the constituency. That is why the people I've worked with from the MPP background. So really look at who is on the heart of the people in Ablekuma West. Mm-hmm. The person is you. Then they vote for you, then they can get a representative who will work and serve the constituency as well.
Fearful Esteta, thank you for joining us this afternoon. Independent candidates for the Ablekuma West constituency. He says he will go with the mantra Aseho with the balloting that was done today to enable him to win some more votes in this year's elections. We'll see whether the positioning for him will ultimately result in him getting the needed votes to win that seat come December 7. Like you may be aware, balloting for the presidential candidates didn't take place today due to some legal battles the EC has been confronted with. One of those battles came up today at the High Court. I'm talking about the PPP's Dr. Papakwesi Indom, who is there to challenge his disqualification. The High Court today granted a request by the Electoral Commission to have the matter heard at an earlier date. Lawyer for EC Thaddeus Sori made the request for an earlier hearing, saying a delay will affect the Commission's calendar as well as activities such as printing of the ballot papers. Justice Chebafo ruled that the matter be heard next week, Tuesday, October 25, ordering parties to present written arguments by Monday. PPP policy advisor Kofi Asamoah Sian spoke to Joy News after today's proceedings.
Everybody is looking for the case to be adjudged quickly so that there's no distraction in the election calendar. So Monday, come and file your statement of case. Tuesday, come and make oral argument. And the judge promised to give ruling in the course of the week. So clearly, everybody's desire that we should adjudicate these issues if like in a fast-track fashion has been determined by the court. So it's okay for us. Justice must be delivered. And at the end of the day, we are saying that there are some procedures that had to be followed. And in our view, it was not followed. Let the judges deal with it. And the courts and our lawyers are seized with the matter. That's where we are. Any other thing you see. But what is more worrying to us is that the ballot papers are going to be printed from outside Ghana. And why are we printing things from outside? The jobs that we are seeking to solve can be created in this country, or the joblessness that we want to solve by campaigning and being in this election. One of the solutions is when you give jobs an opportunity to local printing firms, and for that.
Well, some supporters of the party, the PPP, were also at the court premises to show their support in times like this.
We are here to protest for the EC to put Dr. Papakwesi Indom, who is the leader of the PPP, back on the ballot box. We are here to protect, and as you can see, people are coming from all regions just to support Papakwesi Indom for the PPP.
And while from the PPP, let's move on to the APC, where its presidential aspirant, Hassan Ayariga, says he's decided to suspend his supposed campaign to challenge his disqualification from the presidential race. Mr. Ayariga was disqualified together with 11 other aspirants for various mistakes on their nomination forms. He's been addressing a news conference today in Accra where he says he will continue to campaign while he awaits the decision of the court on his disqualification.
You are all aware that last Monday, the EC came and made some announcement about disqualified presidential candidates, 13 of us. The first political party and the leader mentioned was Dr. Hassan Ayariga of the APC. And that Dr. Hassan Ayariga was disqualified based on so many reasons. And I will take you through it for us to actually ascertain the truth of the matter and also to expose the lies of the commission so far so that we will know whether our commission is a credible commission to run the 2016 elections or not. First of all, when the government appointed the EC chair, as a woman, we were all happy. At least it was a room for woman participation in our governance system, in our democracy, in the management of our country. Because we all believe in women. Our mothers are women, our wives are women. Equally, our sisters are all women. So we want to encourage women participation. Before she was appointed the EC chair, she was the national NCCE boss, and her duties, and part of her duties was to make sure that she educate the voter on how to vote, how to conduct themselves, and many other things. I will, by law, because I believe in the rule of law and democracy, I will not campaign for myself until the court decides so. But I will continue to campaign for my parliamentary candidates until justice is delivered. I will not sit home. I will not sit at home. I will also not sit in the office. I will go around the whole country, support all my parliamentary candidates to win their elections and their seats. Because I believe in the rule of law, I will wait until the law, because we have sent the matter to court. Today, as we speak with you, at the moment as I speak to you now, my lawyers is in court. They have filed a writ to the EC, and only justice is what we are looking for. We are looking for justice. And I appeal to all the judges, Supreme Court, High Court. They should look into this matter very well. I'm appealing to them, so that the EC cannot bring this country to chaos and discourage our voters.
So the APC has filed their suit at the High Court. Let's see what becomes of it and whether or not he gets back on the ballot paper or not. Now, moving on to the NDC, it's become apparent that the governing party is paying close attention to some inroads being made by other political parties in parts of the Brahafo and northern parts of the Volta region. This has seen many of the top executives of the NDC increasing their campaign visits and activity in those areas. Well, watch General Secretary of the party, Johnson Isidun Ketia, and what he had to say when he addressed supporters at Nkwanta North.
Mentan said ma northern part of Volta region and my campaign. The Ademia Banin said Yatrawa will say also be ordinary Epiaha kakran. Yes, so a few way, ya pase palm or solo free Ghana pra. Enti Babia, how be a Satia Coho near Pamno. Enti a few way, and I Yanemo Casanche. But a few way campaign, Mayama Day said, and Quanta North, and Quanta South, KJB, and northern side of Volta region. Yanemo never campaign a few. Enti ya koja president Kwairia ya bepeda abetua campaign also. Na afi ya pese constituency bia e wotro abia no e double ni vote. Na ya pam osoro no free hakura. Na ya nimsa ahokeka modi Asia ye ba bia ya kono. Mo be ye amana brusa. Enunti ekwai ayeye enya monkwa mokwayo eye Ghana nyina kwai enti so obitra ha no ye na den se o ya ja kwai no monkwa na be ha mo enya monkwa na be ha mo Ghana nyina ye frisrem abese akọ Accra se ye Eastern Corridor area ekwai no so beti 100 kilometers.
Now, here's a quick translation of what Johnson Isidun Ketia was said in Chi. He says, I don't usually come to the northern part of the Volta region to do campaign, but we have realized that some elephant has started to use his leg to push this place gradually. So we want to sack the elephant totally from Ghana, including this part of the Volta region this year. This campaign, we will be with you in Nkwanta North and South, KJB, northern side of the Volta region throughout the election period. Let's go see off President John Mahama, and then we will sit down and properly campaign. We have to double our votes in all the constituencies here, so we push the elephant out totally. And shortly we'll analyze this comments and in a broader context of the kind of business we've seen already. You know that the president is in the Volta region. the Vice President, Kwesi Mr. Arthur, is in the central region, an area where many have called the swing states in past elections. We'll do a quick analysis of what this strategy of the NDC is and what is actually influencing it in the first place. Details.